So today I'm going to be doing a video on budgeting. I kind of briefly mentioned that in my grocery video that I was going to be kind of talking about budgeting, but not just budgeting, doing a budget on a low income specifically. I know I've seen a lot of videos where people talk about budgeting and how they manage money and stuff like that, but it seems like it's not really relatable to me because we are on a lower income. So I just thought that I would share it. Now, I know that this is something that is kind of taboo to talk about. My husband even is a little bit uneasy about me talking about some of this stuff. So I'm not going to do as deep of a dive into some of this stuff as I would like, just because I want to respect what he is comfortable with putting out there. One of the biggest things is I know that it's kind of a big deal for people talking about like specifically how much money you make. So I'm just going to say we make under $30,000. So that is like as much as he was comfortable with me sharing, which I get that. It's kind of, like I said, it's a taboo thing. But I've seen little by little more and more people talking about this stuff. And it's something that I've wanted to talk about for a long time. Just because, as I've said many times before, like I like helping people. I like sharing kind of my experiences to help other people. So the reason that we are on a lower income is just majority to do with the fact that my husband is a student. He is going to school. He's going to be graduating in May, and it's been a long road for him to get to this point. It's hard to have kids, have a family, try to work and go to school. For a long time, he was on the route to medical school. Then we kind of shifted over to dental. So it's just a lot of difficult classes. If any of you are in that field or have gone through it or thinking about it, like it's rough. And if you've been there, you know. So we have always had to have him have a job that would allow him to work more than just the typical like 9 to 5. He is a waiter at a restaurant, and that allows him to be able to work later into the evening, which you are not able to do if you have a typical job. So he has always had to do that and rely basically on tips and a little bit of a paycheck that they do get, but that is just the best option for us so that he can work those kind of off hours. And also his boss is super flexible. He's several times had to switch shifts or do different things per each semester depending on his schedule. So it's just been the best thing for us. Now, I will say, many of you know I work as well. And while that is great and an additional income can help, and you're like, okay, well maybe like at that point you started making more. Let me stop you right there. No, because what happened is I basically started working so that Alan could take more time off from work to be able to dedicate more of that time to school. So I won't get into like how much he works, how much I work. I won't get into that just out of respect for him. But he does not work that many days. I'm just going to say that. He does not work very much. He's still the main provider, which is great because his job pays pretty well for how little or how much he does work. But he does not work very much at all. But he's still the main provider. Mine is just a supplemental income. So there's a little bit of background with that. Our debt, I want to do a little bit of background on that. So obviously I'm sure you're assuming, yes, we have student loan debt from him. I still have just a little bit from when I went to school in 2017. So thank goodness mine is not that much. I've paid on it since I got out of school, and it's little by little come down. So we have debt from that, but also with us being on a lower income, there have been times where we have had to put things on credit card. We've had to use that as a backup, or felt like we didn't really have enough to buy X, Y, or Z, and so we would use that. And that's great and that's fine, but it's obviously not the smartest and best way to handle things. We have never really had a savings, just simply because we have not managed our money, number one, correctly to do so. So then in turn it's always felt like we didn't have enough to be able to do that. So typically we would every year kind of little by little like work up a pretty good balance and then get like a tax return and pay it off, and that kind of cycle has continued to exist over over the course of, I wouldn't say our marriage, I would say over the course of having kids, because that's when things really started to change. Okay, so I don't want to like rush through this, but I just want to give like a very general idea of things, and then if I, like I said, if I need to do like a deeper dive into something, or you guys have questions, I can make more videos on it. But basically, kind of like with the school thing and just having the epiphany that that's what I wanted to do, I had an epiphany in the end of 2019 that something had to change. I was so tired of us feeling like we never had any money. We always make sure that the important things happen, as far as, you know, for example, Kensington needed to start speech therapy. And so while that is not cheap, we make sure that we make it happen. So those things never ever lack, but then of course you're lacking in other areas, hence getting into more debt or whatever by some other means. So I finally said, you know what, it's enough. Things have got to change. We've got to do things differently. So I was kind of looking around, and I had already kind of been intrigued by the Budget Boot Camp by Jordan Page. I'm sure some of you have heard of that. If you haven't, go check it out. So I was looking at that, and I was like, you know what, I really, really want to try this. We've never done any budgeting, you know, like I know people have talked about Dave Ramsey a lot. You know, we've never done any serious budgeting program before. And so I was like, I know, you know, that it costs money that we don't necessarily have, but this is the one and only thing that I will ever buy, that I will ever do. And if this does not work out, then we'll have to figure out another way. I'm not going to pay any more money for getting out of debt. You know what I mean? It just didn't make sense. So I talked to Alan about it, and he agreed that, you know, it was time for a change. We've been married 8 years, and this is pretty much going on for the past 5.5 years where we've been struggling. So I waited until she had her Black Friday sale, and I went ahead and bought the whole Budget Boot Camp system. And we haven't gone all the way through it yet. We're working our way through whenever we have time. Right off the bat, we did a couple things, and I wrote everything down so that I could share it with you guys. So the first thing that we did was, Jordan talks about like a weekly spending freeze, like a spending freeze for the week. So basically I told Alan, I think first things first, we just need to have a spending freeze, period. Like for the foreseeable future. So we kind of changed it a little bit, because hers is like spending absolutely no money. But what we did is spending no additional money aside from the necessities. So no going out, no stopping and buying, you know, drinks from the gas station or from Sonic or whatever. No buying clothes, which we don't really buy clothes for us that often. But, you know, for the kids, you know, unless we absolutely need it, like don't buy it. You know, basically like buy nothing except for your essentials. So that was the first thing we started doing. I really, really saw a difference, as in like $900+ of a difference comparing the month of October to the month of December. It was insane, like the difference in what we had spent. It was just unreal, which October was a really bad month for us, and there was a lot of things that happened that we had to spend money on, yada, yada, yada. Like I said, it's important to have a savings, because I absolutely was in dire need of tires in October. They were like stripped completely bald, and they're not cheap, and we just had to put them on credit card. We had no backup, no savings, no nothing to be able to pay for that. So and I know that you guys know what I'm talking about. Like those sort of things just happen where you have to have something, and you don't always have the money just sitting around waiting for it. If you're dumb, like me, like I know a lot of people are. You should have the savings for it. You should have the money set aside for emergencies, but that's for another time. So then the second thing that we started doing right away was budgeting our groceries for the first time ever. Jordan in the program talks about how much you should spend, like as a general rule for your groceries. What we decided to do was spend $80 a week on food for our whole family, a family of 4, and then $25 a week on non-food items. So that's anything. That's your toilet paper, paper towels, whatever, you know, non-food items that you buy, laundry soap, whatever. It had to fit within that $25 a week budget. So I kind of talked about this a little bit in my grocery video, which it helps so much for us to do the Walmart pickup, because then I can see what is the price per ounce. I can compare things, and that just works best for me. And I can also see my total at the end, which it's hard for me to sit there and in the grocery store, okay, add up, how much is this? Okay, so that I know how much my total is going to be at the end. I've never done that. That just takes way too long for me. It makes no sense. So that was a big thing for us. And that also, doing a grocery app, the Walmart pickup, really, really helps so that I don't do any sort of impulse purchases, impulse buying. So it really helps to keep us on budget. I am a huge advocate of it. No, this is not sponsored in any way. I'm not that big. I'm not a big enough YouTuber to get anything for saying anything about the Walmart pickup app, the grocery app, anything like that, or the Budget Bootcamp from Jordan Page. This is just stuff that I truly love and use. So we started budgeting our groceries for the first time, making sure that we weren't spending any money on that, because we would spend way too much on groceries. I don't even remember the dollar amount, but way too much on groceries. Like I said, we had the attitude of, if we need it, we're going to just buy it. It doesn't matter how much it is, we're going to just buy it. And I have completely nixed that way of thinking. And now that I think about it now, I'm like, that is so stupid. Why would you not really pay attention to how much money you're spending on food? So there's that. Like I kind of briefly said, we also, though, in the midst of this spending freeze and not buying anything unless we absolutely need it, we always make sure the kids have everything that they need. So thank goodness for us, any doctor's visits or anything like that are covered by their insurance. And clothes, I'm going to have to start kind of putting money aside for getting their spring and summer clothes. I need to, I should have already been doing that, but I need to get on that. And just really making sure, okay, this is the amount that I have, and don't spend over it. I'm going to do another video on when I get their haul, but I think I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time. I want to look at some local thrift shops and just trying to budget better for their clothes and trying to spend less money. I would spend per season, so I would get it, twice a year. You guys know this if you've ever seen my hauls, but I would do a spring and summer clothing trip and then a fall and winter, and each time I would spend about $400, $200 on each kid, which I don't feel like is bad if, you budget for that, appropriately. But I'm just curious to see this year if I can do things a little bit more frugal and a little bit cheaper, but still get the cute and good quality clothes that I want. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to do a special video on that. Ooh, another thing that we did with the spending freeze is we canceled all of our subscriptions. This is a tough one, and we fought about it, if I'm being honest. Shout out to my family, you know what I'm talking about, because we fought, guys. It's hard to let go of things that you enjoy. And what I love about Jordan's whole thing is, her motto basically is talking about sacrifice, and sacrifice is giving up something good for something great. And she also says, live like no one will, so that you can live like no one can. Those are her two kind of mantras, and I love those. I love those sayings, and I remind myself of them often. Is you are giving up, the fun Hulu subscription, your Apple Music, your ad-free Pandora, whatever it is now, but so that you can have so much more for your future later. So giving up something good for something great. And so that was hard. So the only thing that we have is Netflix. We kept Netflix for the kids. They've got to have something. So we have Netflix, and we got rid of Hulu. We had a VidAngel subscription. We got rid of that. Alan had an Apple Music. I had ad-free Pandora. What else? I feel like there was a couple more that I'm forgetting. We already didn't have that many, but I think that was it. I think that was all the ones that we canceled. So we canceled all of our subscriptions, and it is going to save us a decent amount of money each month. So that is something, if you have cable, if you have, monthly or bi-weekly nail appointments or whatever it is, consider, is that really necessary? Is that really important right now? Is that really going to contribute to getting me where I want to get to? So just something to think about. I know it's not for everybody, and not everybody has issues with debt and with money and financial problems, but I know a lot of people do. Okay, so our plan for paying off our debt is basically, like I said, to just continue with our spending freeze. We do not buy anything. We are very mindful and careful of paying off what we have on the credit cards, and basically we just want to pay those off as quickly as possible. She's talked in there, I think it's the Dave Ramsey method that she took this from, but it is the debt snowball, so paying off your smallest thing first and then continuing on until you have paid your biggest thing. If you haven't heard about it before, look it up. I'm sure you can just find it randomly on YouTube or on the internet somewhere. So we're kind of doing that. We generally, because we have kids, get a pretty good tax return, so we will basically, that will be gone the moment that we get it because we'll pay things off immediately with that, which is a huge help, and I am super blessed that we have that. I'm super grateful and thankful because that helps us big time. But of course it would be fun to be able to use that for something that we actually wanted to use it for, something enjoyable, a vacation or this or that or whatever. But that has just never been what has happened for us. Hopefully going forward in the future that will change and we'll be able to use that for fun stuff. But until we get ourselves in a better financial situation, not gonna happen. So then from there, we're just going to, as we pay things off, that will free us up money to put that payment towards other things. The only thing that I don't know that we're gonna get paid off will be Alan's student loans. I think those will just kind of continue. We'll pay off the ones that, if they're gathering interest, I think he might have one that is, or that's going to start, I think soon. I can't remember exactly, but we need to get that taken care of. So that stuff will kind of be put to the side a little bit just because of it being a student loan that we might be paying on and working on for a while. So I think that is pretty much it. I know that was probably kind of a really rushed version and explanation of everything, but I think that this kind of, at this point, like, you guys, if you have any questions, you can ask me and then I'll either answer or just make another video about one specific part of this, because this is kind of just a very big and very broad topic. So we're basically going to now at this point continue watching and doing the exercises of the budget boot camp. At this point, there's really nothing else that we can cut out. We don't have cable, we don't have satellite, we only have internet so that Alan can do his studying and stuff like that for school. Here, we have no car payments, we haven't in years, and unfortunately we're not getting any cars anytime soon until all this stuff's paid off. Let's see, I'm trying to think. If you guys have any questions of anything, no, I don't get my nails done. I have nasty nails. I obviously do hair, so I trade with my family if I'm gonna get my hair done. We don't do fun vacations. We've actually never been on a family vacation ever. We don't go out to eat anymore. So, I mean, it's a huge sacrifice. We're gonna be selling a couple things that we no longer really use nor have the ability to use. So, like, we have a really nice grill, which I don't even want to talk about because it's kind of a sore spot, that we bought. It's been a while, but we also haven't used it in a long time. We live in an apartment, you really can't use it. So we're going to try to sell that this spring. So there's a couple things like that we want to go ahead and get rid of and sell to try to put towards, bills or whatever. And that's pretty much it. That's our game plan. So just pay off as much as we can. We're continuing the spending freeze as long as we still have debt to pay off. And continuing to just get tips and tricks from the videos that we watch and the exercises that we do. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, if you guys have any questions on what we're doing, anything from the past, whatever, feel free to ask. And as long as my husband is okay and comfortable with me answering, then I will. I have no problem getting personal and being upfront and just telling you guys like it is, because I feel like our situation is not unique in the slightest. Yes, it's unique in the sense that, this is about how much our income is, and we are a family of 4, and my husband's in school, so there's that, but it's not unique in the sense that everybody's got something, whether it's financial issues or family things going on or whatever. So to me, I don't have any problem getting personal and getting deep. That's just me. I'm real and upfront. We've got debt, we've got things to pay off, but I'm also proud to say that we're working on it, we're working through it, and trying to be better. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Like I said, any questions, put them down in the comments. And subscribe if you have not already. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.